The views and opinions expressed on the cap are those of the hosts. They do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of OldMilk Media. Any opinions stated aren't intended to offend anyone. Yo, this Young Lil album is the best of all time. I can't wait to talk to Taylor about it, man. This is gonna be the greatest thing ever. Yo, what's good, Taylor? How you doing?
I hate this album.
Do you have to clean your ears first?
My
What's wrong with you?
girlfriend said everything I play in the car scares her. She said I lost all my taste.
Clearly.
And I need your help.
Well, what am I supposed to do about it? You want me to order you Q-tips?
No, I need hoodies. I need a beanie. I need t-shirts. I need you to help.
All right, I'll see what I can do. I can send you this beanie, but everything else we're gonna have to see. Introducing the 2023 OldMilk collection. This collection, comprised of hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, and stickers designed by Nate Sperlin, is guaranteed to show everyone your superior style and taste. Man, I hope Taylor doesn't scare the viewers with that bummy outfit. Oh,
Yo.
no bummy outfit today. Look at that.
No, I'm much better. The album sounded better. Everything is better. All thanks to OldMilk.
Rush over to oldmilk.co to shop the 2023 OldMilk collection today. Welcome back to the Cap Podcast. This is episode 417. I am Nate Sperlin. That is Taylor McLeod. Thank you for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and more. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at OldMilk Media. And check out all the OldMilk content at oldmilk.co. It's your weekly tour through hip hop. We are one podcast down for today. And the second one is what you're watching right now or listening to right now. That being said, Taylor, again, how are you doing? How are you feeling after you've gotten your I don't want to spoil the previous podcast, but how do you feel after you've gotten your feelings off of your chest?
I feel great. And if you listen to the last one, the open to the last one, or even better, if you watch the last one and then watch this one, you'll notice it is now 1 p.m. California time. And you'll notice that a certain light is no longer coming through this window and ruining my life. So we had a good conversation about this music that we love, and now the light is gone, and we can talk about an album that truly goes crazy.
Yes. On this episode of the Cat Podcast, let's just get right into it. On this episode of the Cat Podcast, we will be discussing Heaven Knows by PinkPantheress, featuring Rima, Central C, Kalila, and Ice Spice. This is PinkPantheress's debut album. PinkPantheress also has production credits on every single track, which is the reason why I wanted to give this album a listen in the first place. I was very impressed by the fact that she produces her own music. Those of you who have been following the podcast know how I feel about artists who produce their own music. So yeah. Anyway, join the Heaven Knows conversation in the comments below. That being said, Taylor, what did you think about Heaven Knows?
Are we skipping over?
Yeah,
the
I
verses?
just want to get into it, honestly.
Yeah, no, I do too.
Yeah. Hey,
So
like,
here, I'll give a little rundown. And we were gonna do verses. We're gonna talk about Boys Liar Part 2.
yes, we are.
And it was gonna be who had more of an impact. But really, I don't know if anyone had more impact. I think they work perfectly together. It's like the picture of like D Wade throwing the lob to LeBron. Like, like they both had their moments. So if you're talking about impact, it's like, oh, like, which TikTok sound did you like more? Do you like the Ice Spice verse, or do you like the chorus of the song? But in terms like that's impact. But in terms of how they work together, I thought it was pretty flawless. And it was, two artists who their stars rising so quickly, and they were working together. But I'm glad we're getting right into the album because, man, when you first sent this to me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little confused.
Mhm.
Like I was like, okay, like, I know it's coming out. I know it's a big deal, but I was like, we're here for bars. You know what I mean? And I was like,
bars, son. You don't know nothing about that.
Exactly. So I was a little confused. And then, you and I started talking about, PinkPantheress producing her own music, and that like you said, that's very impressive. And so I went into this with a very open mind. I'll admit it, I haven't listened to a lot of PinkPantheress outside of Boys the Liar because that was unavoidable. But this album's really good. Like this album, it's super refreshing in the sense that like I've talked about it before. I get into these like rabbit holes where I only listen. I don't even listen to playlists, like, or even albums. I go to an artist and I just hit shuffle. And so I get so stuck in one world. And this is how I've listened to music like forever. Like, you know what I mean? It's like back in the day, it would be like, all right, I'm going to go to Kanye and hit shuffle and listen to his whole discography. Or I'm going to go listen to Drake, Future, Earl Sweatshirt, Mac Miller, Action Bronson. Like, I'm only listening to one artist for a whole day. So I get real stuck in worlds. And this album is one of those projects that really pulls me out of that because it like reminds me of what music can be and what music should be, especially with PinkPantheress producing and having production credits on all these songs. And it's like really like a breath of fresh air to hear something like this. And also, like, I know you and I are in the same boat. Like 95% of the music I listen to is like super hip hop. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, that's all I'm listening to. Like, we play a lot of like jazz in my apartment. Like, we have that on all the time. But besides that, and a lot of the times I'm playing that because I'm trying to take stuff from it to cut it up and then make beats out of it. So I still have like that ear where I'm like trying to hear. So an album like this is so refreshing. And I'll say the first 4 songs, I was a little like, all right, this is cool, but we're sounding a little too like electronic house. Some elements of, like, Lily mentioned this. She's like, it sounds a little like K-poppy. And I was like, you know, those first 4 songs, and then from 5 to 13 is where it's like, no, this is what I'm here for. It has elements of like a lot of my favorite stuff. It like, it has like the electronic sound maintains throughout, but like you start to get into places where like where electronic music can really go and where like electronic music legends take it. And from track 5 to track 13, this is like an unbelievable album.
Yeah. I'm glad that you said that because one of the notes that I was going to put down until we get to that point where we start to see the versatility was it felt like a little bit, it was like too one-dimensional in a way. Not too one-dimensional. It felt cohesive, but it could, if she continued to put out projects like that, it could run the risk of her being one-dimensional. But then we get to like just naming some of the tracks off of my head, like Ophelia, Feel Complete. Like those tracks are just like those are the two standout in terms of, okay, this is my sound. I like, if I'm PinkPantheress, this is my sound, and this is all. But don't forget, I can also do Ophelia and Feel Complete and all these other sounds as well. So I like it. On the last podcast, not to give it fully away, but we were basically talking about, it seemed like at least music seems to be in a rebuild. I'm not sure where we could classify PinkPantheress, if she's a pop star, if she's a rapper. I'm not really quite sure where to put her yet, but I can tell you that she's a producer. And even production, it seems like it's starting to get one track minded. It all blends together, as we were talking about in the last podcast. And so to hear PinkPantheress with her own sound be able to create an identity with her production and then show us the different ways that identity can go on this album is really impressive. Let me just get this out the way right now, because there's really only one critique I have on this album, and it's on Another Life. Arima's vocals need to be turned up. That's literally the only issue I have with this project. Besides that, PinkPantheress, her vocal talent, her ability to produce, it makes her one of the most impressive young artists right now. I think that I can put her on the same level as Baby Keem, because Baby Keem also produces a lot of his stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so, but I would say that this album, in terms of what we look for on this podcast, I would say that this album is better because it's more cohesive. And the Baby Keem album was a lot of different sounds and stuff like that. And it's nothing against Baby Keem. It's just that I just, for a debut album, I'm really looking for you to establish your identity. And I think that's exactly what PinkPantheress does here.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that, but I really love that. And I don't think it's a comparison. I love that link, just thinking of those two artists, because we have a lot of artists that come out now and like, it might sound good, it might be really fun, but there's nothing to it necessarily. It doesn't feel real. It's not like, there's no core, right? It might be all the bells and whistles without the motor, without the engine, without the main components that you need for things to last. And so I really like that because, and especially the sounds and the creativity, and like a lot of debut albums, you can tell that like there was a level of like enjoyment that went into making this,
Mhm.
that a lot of the time fades as time goes on, and it usually fades in one of two ways. It fades into a way more serious tone where it's like, no, this is like what I do, this is my life's mission, or it fades into like, I need to make money off of this, so it kind of breaks. But I love debut albums for that reason. I love debut albums and I love second albums for that reason, because it's always that like, all right, why am I here and where am I headed? And
Mhm.
things, it's not always that, black and white. It's not always that, like clear, two path situation, but a lot of the times it is. And I don't know, I really enjoyed this album, especially like I said, from 5 to 13. And I need to listen to more interviews with PinkPantheress to really get a feel on where this music is coming from. But like this feels like an album that's made by a person who is like so deep into their own style, so deep, like so like, I don't know if this is the right word, but so like nerdy about what they do,
Mhm.
that it's like, no, like all of these little
Cerebral.
things matter so much to me. Yeah, like
Mhm.
cerebral, but in a way that's like not this like super, I mean it is like super thought out,
Mhm.
but it just comes, it's such a genuine place. It's not like
Yeah.
it's not this super like cold and calculated thing. It's very much like like you said, cerebral. It's conscious of itself. It's all right, I'm gonna do all this stuff because it's like mind blowing, right? And it's like it there's so much of this is like such a willingness to explore where things could go and where things shouldn't go, and how simplicity can be best here, but maximalism can be best over there, while all maintaining this one through line of like, and I like the fact that there aren't very many features on this. I like the fact that it's 13 tracks, which, as you can imagine, like I would like something like that.
You
And especially
definitely
with
you definitely
Boys
popped
a Liar part,
champagne
right?
when you saw
Boy,
13 tracks.
and with Boys a Liar Part 2, it really feels like it's like a
Mhm.
12 track with a bonus tacked
Yeah.
onto it. You know what I mean? So it's like, this is what I want. This is what I want for musicians, is to make the project that they want to make and put it out and be like, this is who I am. This is the type of musician I am, and not have it be so clouded by all these things, whether it's needing to take yourself too seriously to prove yourself, needing to make money, needing to blow up on socials, needing the features to go viral, all that stuff. So this is the spirit of what I'm looking for in this, like, not just any genre, like any music. Like, this is what I'm here for. I mean, there's music that's coming out across all genres right now, like, that feels inspired. And then we have our biggest artists who we're used to, who feel uninspired.
Mhm.
And that's kind of how it is a lot of the times. But lately, we've gotten a lot of younger artists, a lot of new artists who feel there is no inspiration. And you can't even say they're uninspired. It's just like internet driven. It's algorithm driven. It's like AI music coming from a real person.
Mhm.
But this feels like the exact opposite of that. And there's like the world building on the back of this. It feels a lot to me like some like Frank Ocean stuff that I really love. And it's, yeah, from the first four tracks, and they're not bad, but they're certainly not for me. Like, I listened to the first four, I was going through it and I was like, all right, I get it, but this, like, I'm not the target audience for this project, right? And you sometimes you got to throw your hands up and say, this is good, but it's not for me. And then 5, Nice to Meet You with Central C, and it's not just because there's a rapper on it, but it's like from 5 to 13, 5 to 12, if we want to get more specific, it's like, all
Mhm.
right, PinkPantheress is like really doing it, like she's going hard.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really really impressed by this album, and it feels so good to feel legitimately impressed by an album.
It does, especially after the year that 2023 has been, and we've said it on so many different podcasts how this year hasn't really been what we've expected out of 2023. So to hear her able to just, and also I think that a part of the reason why I'm so impressed is not only the fact that she produces, the fact that she's able to use her vocals in a way that is very complimentary to what she produces. It's just the fact that technically, when you get into like actually like the song constructions and stuff like that, it makes sense. Like she's not trying to do too much. There isn't a verse that feels out of place. There isn't a hook that feels like, okay, like you didn't have to do this. Like she doesn't cut off the song short and you're like, damn, I really wanted more of that. Like every single song you feel like, okay, this starts, like you start it, you're like, okay, where's this going? Oh wow, this is great. And then you're like, you know what? That's the perfect time to end it. I was basically done with listening to
Yeah.
that. Good job. I'm on to the next thing. I additionally, her storytelling ability. Every single track, there's a story. Every
Yeah.
single one. And it goes together in a way where um this isn't really a critique. Maybe this is a little bit of a nitpick, but some of it is like it's all basically the same topic. It's basically about like do you want me, or like something about like you're not good for me because for whatever reason or whatever like that. And then we get to the end and then boy's a liar, like yo, like he's a liar, like get him out of here, like yo,
Yeah.
get the mob or whatever. So maybe that could have been structured a little bit better. Like again, like this is a music critiquing podcast, so like I'm trying to stay true to what we're actually trying to do here, but it's just so hard when the album is this good.
Yeah. No, for sure. And the thing about, and I, like you said that you like this, and I also like it too. And there's so many examples of it, but like, the best example of it probably is like Kanye, right? Where early Kanye is building his own world to exist in. And then he gets to put the vocals on it. So it's not like a situation, right, where some producer sending out beats to someone and someone gets this beat and it's amazing. And then you have this standalone beat and then the artist is like, I have to live up to that beat. So I have to do something that, you hear it when people work closely with a producer all the time. Like when Alchemist is doing these projects with, people in there, they're in the lab constantly. When Future and Metro Boomin work together, when Future and Esco work together, when Drake and 40 work together, when Drake and Boy Wonder work together, where they're working in tandem to figure out how to make the best piece of music and not have it be like this back and forth, right? When you have someone who's producing their own music, it's even another level of that, because like they made the music, so they know that it's like, I don't know the exact percentages, but say like you make the beat, right? And it's like, all right, this is like 75% of this song. And then I need this last quarter, right? Needs to be the vocals, and how can we complement the beat? Or if you have the vocals first and it's like, how can things complement each other? When you're making it yourself, you have that, you have, it's such an insular process, and you have it all together, and you're able to tinker and put stuff together and pull stuff apart. It's not like you have this beat at 100% and then the artist is like, I need to come at 100% as well. And so you have that perfect like blend of vocals and production, and like you have these little spots where things are able to be tweaked and moved around and either brought down or brought up. And it's such a perfect thing when you have an artist who understands how to produce for themselves. And because I mean, there's other artists who make beats and they also rap, or they rap and they also make beats, and they don't ever mix, right? The beats are for someone else, like, and then they're rapping on other people's beats, and that's fine too. But with this album in particular, like you can feel that the person who put you can step outside of PinkPantheress, you can feel that the person who put the vocals on this had a hand in producing these songs, and like had an idea of how they should go together, because it's all coming from them. It's not coming from an external source. It's not coming from, from someone else.
Yeah. Final thoughts?
Man, this one has me excited, and it's something that I hope that you and I start to do more. And it can be tough, especially because this isn't our full-time job, right?
Yeah.
We both have full-time jobs and full-time lives. That doesn't always let us be like, hey, let's break down this album that has 6,000 listens, right? But a project like this, especially when it's a new artist who's starting to bubble, pushes me to open up my eyes, to be like, all right, we can be so jaded about the top of the music, but something that's remained true since the beginning of all music, right, is that there are people making music constantly. And sometimes you just have to like broaden your horizons a little bit and get that music that feels like something. And this feels like something. So my final thought is that this is just a good, impressive album. It's solid. It's such a great debut project from an artist that clearly has a bunch of buzz going right now, and that buzz is warranted. So it's the perfect debut project for an artist like PinkPantheress. So that's my final thought. My favorite tracks are, and I'm glad you feel this way, but Ophelia, Feel Complete are crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Capable of Love, the second track 12, second to last
Mm-hmm.
track. So those are my three. Ophelia, Feel Complete, Capable of. Those are my three. I've already heard some of this music like on like a MacBook commercial. So I think it might have some legs, especially if Boys a Liar has a little renaissance, right? And it comes back in a big way. So I'm really bad at gauging the chart success of this, but overall, I do think this probably has a couple months in it. And if any of this stuff like catches on TikTok or whatever, we might be looking at like more than just a few months, right?
Yeah.
So I think this has some real legs to it. And for me personally, this isn't even a situation where I need to be like, all right, I'm going to make an effort to keep listening to this. Like, I'm going to give myself like definitely through the winter months, because it feels like a real winter album to me, 5 through 12. I'm going to give myself until the spring rolls around. So what's that, like 5 months to really sit with this. And I hope that it sticks in the albums that I keep coming back to over time, because I'm really impressed by it. And those, like I said, first 4 songs, not for me, but 5 through 12, 5 through 13 are, they're the real deal.
Yeah. My final thoughts are PinkPantheress producing her album along with her vocal talent that makes her one of the most impressive young artists that we have right now. Heaven Knows is cohesive with Ophelia and Feel Complete, giving the biggest contrast to the album's main sound. My top 3 tracks are Ophelia, Feel Complete, and Boys a Liar Part 2. I mean, like, come on, like that great track. Playback value, objectively, 2 months. I think it could go longer. I do think there's I think one of the biggest things about PinkPantheress is that she's not chasing a TikTok sound. She is the TikTok sound.
Yeah.
And because of that, one, that allows her music to feel genuine, but 2, it also allows her music to catch fire. So I can definitely see it catching fire and lasting for as long as maybe even a year. Subjectively, I give myself a month, but to be honest, I'll probably keep going back and forth to this, because it's also just a nice break from the traditional or the regular music that I listen to, and sometimes you need that break. So that being said, thank you for watching us. This has been episode 417 of the Cat Podcast. Let us know what you think about Heaven Knows in the comments below. Do us a favor, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like this video. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at OldMilk Media, and check out all the Old Milk merch on oldmilk.co. That being said, we will be back when hip hop tells us to be, and we are out.